From the point of view of compositional technique, if you can make a smooth, gradual modulation to a distant key, it's easy to make it more surprising. The opposite is not true. It's easy to make a modulation sound like a big bump, but it takes much more skill to make it smooth. Let's look at some real-world examples. First one is from the first movement of Beethoven's Fourth Piano Concerto. Here the music goes from G major to B flat major quite abruptly. The preceding music was in G major, the home key. Then it arrives at the dominant of E minor, the relative minor. And the E minor chord leads to the dominant of D major. So far we've stayed in the realm of closely related keys. But instead of arriving at D major, Beethoven goes to a D minor chord instead. After that, the piano turns around E and F for one bar, suddenly the thematic material changes, and we're in B flat major. Why does it work? Well, first of all, there are two common tones between D minor and B flat major, D and F. Also, we've approached the new key through a sequence, circle of fifths. And finally, as in our first example, the piano timbre stays constant, as does the tempo. On the other hand, the combination of new material and the harmonic contrast makes this movement quite salient. And this is in fact the first time in this movement that we leave the realm of closely related keys. But we don't stay here very long. Only 5 years later, these same common tones, D and F, become part of a diminished seventh chord as the bass descends to G sharp. This diminished seventh chord leads easily to 5 of D major, which turns out to be the main key of the second group. Diminished sevenths are often useful in chromatic modulations, since they're by nature ambiguous. They can resolve equally well in several different keys. Let's see how. Here I've spelled 4 identical diminished seventh chords in 4 different ways. Each spelling leads to a different resolution, by treating a different member of the chord as a leading tone. The first one goes to F sharp, minor or major. The second goes to E flat, minor or major. The third to A minor or major, and the last one to C, minor or major. So a composer can make use of this ambiguity by presenting a diminished seventh chord in one key, and then in effect just respelling it to involve another key. Here's another example where Beethoven uses modal interchange. First, Beethoven seems to be heading toward a cadence in D major, but when it arrives, it's D minor. Since D major and D minor share a common dominant, the modulation is convincing.